Do you enjoy feeding wild animals like birds, squirrels, if you're like me, wild rats? If you go on the internet and look this topic up, feeding wild animals, you will discover that the internet is dead set against feeding wild animals. But today in this video, we're going to talk about 3 reasons why feeding wild animals is actually a very good thing. And at the end of the video, I'm going to be talking about some of the lack of research and some of the hypocrisy that is rampant in this topic. Okay, so reason number 1 why it's good to feed wild animals is because it helps to maintain wildlife populations. In cities or suburban areas where forests and grasslands have been replaced with concrete, then of course there's not going to be as many food sources for the wild animals. So feeding them helps maintain healthy populations. It keeps them from becoming malnourished and sick. It prevents disease. It prevents death. Benefit number 2, it maintains a healthy ecosystem. Every creature has a place in the ecosystem, and when buildings and highways displace those creatures, the natural order of things falls apart. Helping creatures survive supports biodiversity. Predators regulate prey populations. You've probably heard about bees declining and how that affects pollination, and which in turn affects plant growth. In addition to urbanization, climate change is affecting wildlife populations, and pollution also affects wildlife populations. Working to help support and maintain the health of animals by supplementing their diet can go a long way in supporting a healthy ecosystem. In general, animals in the ecosystem helps maintain a healthy balance. It helps the planet maintain its order of things. Benefit number 3, mental health. Now, you've probably heard of the many benefits that come from interacting with wild animals. And it's not just feeding the animals, it's just the interaction with the animal. Now, whatever kind of animal that you like, when you are in the presence of that animal, like a real special bond can take place, a special spark, like something that just brings joy to your life. Say it's a squirrel who comes to visit you on your porch every day, like giving that squirrel a peanut, it just brings so much joy. For me, I started out just by putting a few bird seeds out on my railing, and suddenly squirrels showed up and rats quickly followed. Fortunately, I love rats, so I don't mind when they eat the bird seed. And in fact, I put a few extra things out. So mental health benefits, it helps decrease depression. It helps get you out into nature. It helps you be active. It helps decrease symptoms of PTSD, anxiety. It promotes calm. There's just so many benefits in terms of mental health. And you can bet, like the animal, as much joy as you're getting from the animals, I'm sure the animals are getting the same joy, maybe more from you. So, I just want you to know that you're doing a good thing when you're out there feeding those animals. And now for the hypocrisy and the lack of research to support the claims that feeding wild animals is all bad. The literature is biased because it focuses a lot on the negatives. It focuses a lot on human-animal conflict, probably because it's easy to quantify and to articulate, right? So, somebody is attacked by a squirrel. Well, everybody on the planet will hear about that. Feeding birds is generally accepted. It's not as criticized as feeding other wild animals like squirrels. Rats, oh yeah, many people would be against feeding rats. For example, in the city of Vancouver, there's a bylaw that says that you are not to feed wild animals in the city. to avoid creating a nuisance. However, they do say that it's okay to feed hummingbirds and other birds as long as it's a contained bird feeder. Now, I don't know why that's the case, because the same rationale that they use for not feeding other animals also applies to birds. For example, they say that feeding wild animals can get the animal habituated to humans, it can prevent natural migration and other movements, it can cause unnatural population growth. And so these are rationale that would also apply to birds, yet for some reason it's okay to do with birds. Some people consider squirrels and rats to be pests, and so it's okay for those people to trap and kill squirrels and rats, but it's not okay to feed them because they might become dependent on humans and go up to human. So by not feeding animals, you're apparently protecting them from harm. Yet, take a rat, for example. It's okay to feed a rat to a snake, yet it's not okay to feed a rat. It's not okay to feed a deer, yet it's perfectly okay to go out and shoot a deer and eat the deer. So you can eat the deer, but you can't feed the deer, because that's bad. Eating it is fine, but no, don't feed the deer. Well, that wraps up this overview of why it's a good thing to feed wild animals. And like I said, there are some articles linked at the end of this video. And I wish you many happy times in the future with your wild animal friends.